Hi everyone! Today we will talk about the COVID-19 consequences on global economy. In particular, we will make some consideration of how the Chinese economy has been influenced by the lockdown and how this is related to the rest of the world. According to the official Chinese reports, the manufacturing production has fell significantly after the pandemic outbreak. As reported by the United Nations Conference of Trade and Development (UNCTAD), shipments, restrictions, and order cancellation have brought down the Chinese export sector. According to the forecast, the sector could experience a $50 billion loss on an annual basis. The mere reopening of companies was not enough to restore the economy, since urban public transportation has only recovered up to 47.8% as a result. Many supply chains has been severely slowed down, if not interrupted.
In terms of economy, this situation implies that China has a significant impact on the rest of the world, because it is now a major supplier of intermediate goods in many sectors. Intermediate goods are referred to as products used to produce finished goods, such as wood in a house or sugar in candy. Intermediate goods are sold between industries for resale or the production of finished goods themselves. This market segment is quite developed. Chinese exports of intermediate goods have grown incrementally, according to UNITAD. Moreover, China accounts for more than a half of the global production of TVs and computer monitors. The city of Wuhan alone has 5 factories producing LCD and OLED screens. According to IHS market data, the partial shutdown of Wuhan has already damaged production and increased prices.
China is also the biggest importer of raw material in the world, with more than $300 billion of import in 2019. Now it had cut out the import, affecting the major exporter countries such as Australia, Brazil and Russia. China's demand for crude oil has also decreased, which is why crude oil prices dropped to a minimum since the beginning of 2019. In addition, China is also a large consumer market. In 2018, Chinese consumers spent $150 billion on luxury goods, about 1/3 of the world luxury spending, inside and abroad their country. Tourism now is the most affected sector. If Chinese tourists stay at home, the impact will go beyond the tourism, influencing other sectors such as transport, accommodation, catering, retail and financial services. Until now, 128 countries have limited travel to and from China, hitting mainly on the Asiatic sector, as more than 90% of Chinese tourists travel across their region, mainly to Hong Kong, Thailand, Vietnam and Singapore, but also this will hit Europe.
Vulnerable sector is the manufacturing one, in which China plays an important role both as a supplier and as the country with a substantial number of factories. The automotive is the most developed market in the country. China has the largest automotive market in the world for what concerns both production and consumption. Wuhan, city at the center of the pandemic, has one of the main poles of automotive assembly plants. It produces 10% of all the cars in the country. That can be translated as 2.24 million vehicles, including General Motors, Honda, Nissan, Peugeot Group and Renault. With the spread of the coronavirus and the consequential shutdown, many car manufacturers across the country have stopped their activity. According to the report published by the China Passenger Car Association, and given all the latest changes, car sales in China have decreased by 92%. If this trend keeps being stable, this market apocalypse will lower the number of vehicles assembled in China by 1.7 million. It is not possible to forecast when the automotive production will resume in a proper way.
The pandemic is showing how fragile this model of globalization is, as the production chain relies on a single country as a supplier for many sectors. The Chinese economy has become indispensable, and any attempt to isolate China is a vain effort. In reality, a reduction in economic interdependence between China and the rest of the world is destined to increase over time, for two major reasons. First, today the pandemic is pushing many companies to repatriate the industrial production of those businesses outsourced during the last decades. This transition is known as reshoring. The second reason is that China itself wants to reduce its technological dependence and increase internal production, which means that a phase of deglobalization is looming on the horizon. Thank you for your attention.